Thank you so much. It is wonderful to see so many beautiful faces. I see teachers, students, speakers. We are happy to have Mr. Jackie Clark from the Wynne School Board and so many others, which we will introduce later. All officials, you are welcome. I believe we also have our new Chief of Police, Mr. Dennis. So we're excited to have everyone on, and we're going to move forward. I will begin by thanking all of those who have agreed to volunteer their time for this endeavor. The objective for today is to elevate student thinking above and beyond graduation to focus strategic steps that will help build a roadmap to a successful future. This session addresses the students' level of social, emotional health, college versus technical school choices, and commitment to employment. The first speaker for today is our very own career coach, Mrs. Christine Williams. She will make two brief announcements about the chat box and voting registration, after which she will speak on the strategic focus of your college experience. Mrs. Williams.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Morning. Great.
So good to see everybody. If you're still kind of in limbo about where you want to go, I want you to make sure that you're thinking about your local community colleges. Specifically for our area would be East Arkansas Community College. I want you to make sure that you're thinking about that, because that's home, and that's going to be your most economic and the best place to go, especially if you're not sure about what you want to do. So you can get all of your general basics out of the way and take that first step. And it's more economical. Secondly, if you are going off to a four-year college or university, this is the time to make sure that all of your ducks are in a row. When I say that, I mean making sure that your housing is complete, making sure your financial aid is complete, make sure that you have checked on all of your scholarships. If you receive scholarships from any institution, make sure you have gone in and accepted them, because just because they offered it to you, if you don't accept it, doesn't mean you'll receive it. So make sure that you are actually going in and accepting those scholarships. Make sure that you're checking your Arkansas Academic Challenge. Again, they have been slow on their side because just like us, they are going through the COVID-19 state work from home. So they're telecommuting. So it has taken a long time for them to pull a lot of information over. So just keep checking on your challenge application. When you get to school, I want you all to understand that this has been a whole new learning curve for everybody. So not just the high schools were kind of dislocated and kind of, oh my goodness, where do we go? What do we do? It was also the colleges. So a lot of colleges will have some new ideas and some new learning methods for you. And I just want you to be aware of that. So you may have to do some hybrid courses, and I need you to remember that you have to stay focused throughout that period, okay? Because online learning is not hard, it's just a requirement. The requirement is that you stay focused while you're doing those classes. Being disciplined, right? Y'all hear that all the time, being disciplined. See Kavion laughing. So make sure that you talk to your colleges, check with your admissions offices. And again, if you're not sure what you want to do and things have kind of thrown you off the pace, I definitely want you to consider using our local community college and letting them assist you through this period of getting your general ed done and just helping you get back on an even playing field. Okay? And if you have questions, again, use the chat feature and we will be glad to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I just want to say that Mrs. Williams has been very instrumental in the strategic support for these Zoom meetings. She has made herself available. We have talked throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and she has been readily available. Again, want to thank her. Next, we will hear from 3 2020 Wynne High School graduates. The student segment will be led by our beloved senior, Mr. Kavion Austin. Kavion?
Hey everyone, like she said, I'm Kavion Austin. I'm a member of the Executive Committee of African American Achievers, also known as AAA. As a member, I would like to convey that this event was made possible because AAA received a grant from the Arkansas Community Foundation. This grant was written on behalf of all seniors by Dr. Smith, who is one of 3 sponsors of AAA. Next, 2 Wynne High School graduates, Courtney Harris and Emily Roberts, will share their COVID-19 experiences and what has helped them survive.
Hey y'all, I'm Emily, but this COVID-19 stuff has been really difficult for me personally, just because I am a really big people person. I love being with people, and I love being around communities and doing stuff like that. But the biggest challenge I would say was not getting that closure from our senior year, because we didn't walk across traditionally. We didn't do our end of year fun traditions. We never got the senior skip day and all that stuff. But one of the biggest factors that has helped has been how readily available all of the staff has been. But also me personally, I feel like I've grown a lot more maturity wise from this stuff, because I've learned how to be more accountable and how to motivate myself personally when I'm not in the classroom, especially with these online classes that we've finished actually. But that was really hard. But also not being with my friends every day, or not seeing my grandparents or my aunts and my uncles, that was really hard personally too, because like I said, I am a really big people person. But things like Zoom or FaceTime or Snapchat, that's helped so much too. I can still stay in contact, not personal contact, but I'm still able to reach out to my friends and my family and talk to them. It's also been hard because I work at Don Jose, a lot of y'all know that, but I didn't get to work for 2.5 months, and that was really hard because I was planning on saving up money for college this summer. And so 2.5 months of not working was really difficult. But I am working now, but that was a really big struggle of not being able to work and not be able to do stuff that I needed to do to prepare for college. But I've done that as well. I've learned to save money better and to balance my budget a lot better and things like that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Emily. Kavion?
Next we'll have Courtney Harris. Courtney.
Okay, so first I would like to say thank you to Ms. Smith for allowing me to share my quarantine experience, and to everyone who's made this senior summit possible. And also, I got my wisdom teeth out last week, so if I talk weird, that's fine. So it started out, it was a Friday in Ms. Jenna Earl's class, and everyone was talking, and they were like, well, our school isn't going to shut down because it's not in the United States. And then I was at work at Don Jose that Sunday, and someone came in to eat, and they were like, well, the school's closing for a week. And I was like, well, this will be fine. I'll just get a little break. And then the next weekend came around, and they were like, well, we're going to close for 2 more weeks. And I was like, well, what about our track meets? Because I did run track, and they were like, well, we're just not going to have these meets. And so then the head cheer coach at A-State announced that we're going to do virtual cheer tryouts. And I was like, this could either be a good thing or this could be a really bad thing. And then the cheer gym that I go to in Jonesboro shut down because of COVID-19. And I really needed that because I was missing some skills that I wanted to have before tryouts. And so me and Kavion, we were like, well, we've got to work and we've got to get better. So every day we'd go outside and we'd stunt, and because he knew he needed to learn and I needed the experience because we didn't do that kind of stunting in high school. And so the closer it got to submit our tryouts, we would start to go to Shiras 2 to 3 times a week. And we would tumble and we would practice for 3 to 4 hours a day. And I still didn't have the skill that I wanted to have. And so I was like, I got to submit something. I cannot do it. I've tried. I've done so much. So I submitted on a Friday, and on Sunday I found out that I didn't make it. And I didn't know what to do because I've cheered for so long, and I've cheered the past 3 years in high school. I really didn't know my life without cheer. So made me sad, and so whenever I would get sad, I would either pray or I would go outside and I would run, or I'd go outside and I'd tumble, and I'd find something to make me better, because I was like, this isn't gonna stop me. This is gonna motivate me, and I'm gonna get better so that I can go out and try out again next year. And so recently the cheerleading that I go to has opened up, so I've been going back and I'm doing privates, trying to get better. And I've also decided to do all-star competitive cheer next year so that I can get better to try out again next year. So my message for all my classmates is that if you're struggling through something through quarantine, don't let it get you down. Use it, make you better. If you don't have anything to do, try something new, go outside, do something fun. So that's my message.
Thank you, Courtney.
All right. And Dr. Smith asked me to say, first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody, who made this possible. Thank you to all our special guests. Thank you to, Dr. Smith and, AAA and just, the Wynne High School teaching staff. Y'all have made the last 4 years of high school just amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And COVID-19 has definitely brought me my struggles, and I'm sure it brought everybody some struggles too. But like Courtney said, I did try out for cheer. And before this all went, before the whole COVID thing, I played football. I've been playing football my whole life, and it's always been my dream to play college football. And after my senior season, I received some high honors, and I really thought colleges were going to come, but no colleges came. So I was just roaming. I was trying to find something to do, because I didn't want to go to college and just be just a regular student. I wanted to do something. And so I was really roaming. I was really finding, and then the COVID came, and it really gave me time to sit and think, because everything was shut down, and I really had to just sit and really decide what I really wanted to do. So I discovered cheer, like Courtney said, and and where it comes good then is that everything was shut down, so I was kind of forced, to practice my skills and stuff. And so, like Courtney said, we would go to showers and we would tumble, we would stunt, for hours and hours, and luckily I made the team, but now we're having to learn material over the phone, which is really hard. But that's what I wanted to say out there, and I just want to thank everybody for coming on. Y'all have been amazing.
Thank you again, Kavion, Emily, and Courtney. Once again, we have provided a representative from mental health. It is our hope that no suffering student will leave these sessions feeling abandoned or hopeless. We are here for you, and we want you to know that we are better together. I present to you Dr. Clay Hughes from the Turning Leaf Counseling Center. Dr. Hughes.
First, I again do want to thank Dr. Smith for extending this opportunity to me to be involved in this session. And to all of you seniors, congratulations on your transition for entering the world that you've been dreaming of. Welcome to adulthood, the good times. My name, like Dr. Smith said, is Clay Hughes, and I am a mental health professional who's in private practice here in Wynne. And I've been asked to address the subject today of tools for staying emotionally healthy. Along with the word tools in our title, I would also like to ask you to keep in mind the word habit, because it carries the meaning of how your mental makeup is, what makes you who you are. And so what I want to do just for a couple of minutes is just give you some ideas of how to maintain your mental health and to carry yourself today and in the days to come. First, I encourage you to grow in your self-awareness. Emotionally healthy people continue to examine their beliefs and their habits, and they determine what benefits them and what does not benefit them as they go forward in life. A second thing that emotionally healthy people do is they develop the ability to forgive. People who allow themselves to work through their emotions of hurt and loss, instead of allowing them to hold them down, become strong and advanced people in whatever life choice they have. A third thing is those who are emotionally healthy nurture their self-esteem. They understand that their self-esteem will go through highs and lows, and they use their time to grow and develop. A fourth thing is that they practice flexibility. Emotionally healthy people learn to adapt to their situations. They realize how they feel at the time, and they react to their situations in kind. Fifthly, emotionally healthy people stay positive. They even view obstacles as opportunities for growth and positive change. 6, emotionally healthy people take care of their whole being. Take care of their mind and their body and their soul, because they realize they're all connected. And a 7th and final thing is that emotionally healthy people emphasize gratitude. Those who are emotionally healthy realize that their journey in life has and will always involve the assistance of others. I know that this list, I've kind of run through it. I don't want to chew up time that we have together, but I do encourage you to reflect on them, because all of these points won't stay with you just for the moment, but they will stay with you for always. And again, I thank Dr. Smith for this opportunity. And to all of you seniors, if I can ever be of any help to you whatsoever, you're more than welcome to come by my office here in Wynne at Hughes Life Counseling. And again, I cherish the age that you are and enjoy every moment of it. Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Dr. Hughes, thank you for those awesome tools. And I will be sharing those with the student body later on via email. Thank you very much. And again, any questions that you have for him or connectivity about connecting to Dr. Clay Hughes or the Turning Leaf Counseling Agency, just contact me and we'll help you make those connections. Next, we will hear from Wynne High School counselor, Mrs. Jill Nickerson. Mrs. Nickerson?
Hi, everybody. Thank you to Dr. Smith and to Mr. Harris for putting on this summit. This is great so far. I'm really enjoying it. To the class of 2020, congratulations. Best of luck to you all. When I speak this morning, I'm going to speak as a parent as well as a counselor. I was asked to talk about the things that you're going to need to take with you before, things you'll need when you get to college. But these things will also take you far in life. What I did was I asked my son, who is now a senior in college, what were some of the things that he would, what he would suggest. And as Ms. Williams touched on earlier, the first thing you will need is discipline. You must have discipline. He said, make sure you set a schedule, wake up on time, do your homework, and definitely go to class. No one will be there to take attendance to see if you're in class or not. That is class. The next thing he suggested was a social life. And in bold letters, he put, be careful who you befriend. And he said to make sure to tell the students that make sure you get smarter and nicer friends than you, because they encourage you to be better than you are right now. If you're the smartest person in your group, then your group is not so great. He said to make sure you join a group on campus, not so much off campus, because you can't trust the people off campus, but definitely join a group or a club on campus. Go to the gym. If you don't have anything to do, you can always exercise. That's something safe, and usually it's free to the students on campus. The next thing he said was to cut your losses short. And when I asked him what that meant, he says, well, what it means is don't let anything or anyone hold you back. If you're failing a class, drop it. Don't try to pass it, just drop the class. It's harder to bring up an F in college and it stays on your record, believe me, drop the class. Don't try to do anything. But what you also need to do is make sure you are aware of what your grades are before you get that F. Stay in communication with your teacher or your instructor. They're there to help you. And that's what they'll do if you ask for help. The next thing he said was, if your friend is hurting you, lose your friends. Sometimes your friends can be your worst enemy. They can hold you back. Everybody who's going away to college isn't there to graduate. Just remember that. Be careful of who you befriend. And the last thing he said was to make sure you're open-minded. There are many viewpoints on the campus, and none of them are wholly incorrect. So be willing to learn some new things. When you go away, or even if you stay here in Wynne, you're going to meet people from different walks of life. And you need to be able to communicate with them and understand where they're coming from. If you need anything, we're at the high school. We will be there, and we are more than willing to help you out. So good luck and best wishes.
Thank you, Mrs. Nickerson. Excellent job. I didn't expect anything less. We have three awesome counselors, and we love all three of them, and they love our students. Thank you again, Mrs. Nickerson. Next, we are privileged to have Dr. Kathy Klein, President of East Arkansas Community College. As an alumni, I acknowledge that if it were not for EACC, I may not be Dr. Smith today. Dr. Klein is the first female president of this learning institution. I want to commend her for their innovative spirit and holding a very dignified virtual graduation ceremony, which I scanned just this week. Dr. Klein.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Smith, for this opportunity, and Mr. Harris, and students, thank you for your listening. You've had such great advice this morning. I feel like I may not live up to the previous speakers, but you'll forgive me if that's the case. Dr. Smith asked me to hit on maybe 3 points. One I wanted to hit on is fall. We are planning fall classes with appropriate distancing, screening, and protective measures. The truth is there's only so many things that a college can do and should do to protect its students, and we're all doing pretty much the same thing, which is screening, distancing, and the PPE. As far as our response to COVID-19, which Dr. Smith asked me to speak about, we engage in really thorough communication with students, having staff and faculty both reach out often. Several of them got used to their weekly check-ins, and if they didn't get it exactly the same time, would email the person checking in with them and say, are you checking in with me today? I myself wrote students regularly from my personal school email, which some other college presidents had advised me against, but I really enjoyed it. Students then I knew could respond directly to me if they needed access to me, and several did. And I got to help them with several things and hear about their triumphs and their problems, and enjoyed that a lot. We were the first college in Arkansas to purchase cloth masks for everyone, students, faculty, staff, visitors, and let everyone have those free of charge. So we have been as on the forefront of all of this as we can be. I would also say EACC can prepare you for just about any career I can think of. We have all the hard tech careers is kind of what we're calling them now, including auto service, auto body, diesel tech, industrial equipment technology, HVAC. A lot of students enjoy truck driving because it's a short program and they can go right into a well-paying job. Welding is still very popular. Cosmetology, we renovated our cosmetology space this year, and it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, come see it. Allied health careers, they're all still really hot. We have rad tech, EMT paramedic, LPN, and RN. And EMT basic is another short program that goes right into a job and that can ladder up to a higher degree. On what is considered traditionally the transfer side, we have multiple criminal justice degrees, education degrees, including early, middle, and secondary. A degree called an ASLAS, Associate of Science in Language Arts and Sciences, which you can tailor to fit any major that you think you might go transfer into a university. And of course, the general AA. We have approximately 75 2+2 agreements with universities, and how that benefits you is you know exactly what you need to take when you transfer. In many cases, we have negotiated a better transfer deal than just any random student. Sometimes we negotiated more than half the degree, half the 120 hours, as being courses from us, which saves significantly. We have staff to guide you through transfer issues. All of our faculty and staff and the technical and occupational side are very in tune with local employers. I will say this distinction between transfer and non-transfer is starting to blur. There's a thing called the Bachelor of Applied Sciences that most universities have now, and our AAS programs that we traditionally considered not to be transfer are now transferring into that. Finally, the universities have caught up with the working world and realized that that is important. Skills are important. A tip I like to say in terms of cost, we're one of 2 colleges that caps tuition at 15 hours. So anything you take beyond that's free. So it's kind of like an extra class. We have several local scholarships that can be stacked with state and federal aid, so that's kind of nice. We've had students that have more in direct aid than the cost of college, so sometimes they use that for a bachelor's degree, sometimes they need that to live on. My other tip is always check the fees when you're looking at a college. Some of the university's fees are more than our tuition, just the fees. And so that's a hidden cost. Don't look at just the mandatory fees. Mandatory fees are fees charged to everyone. Look at what's going to be charged on the classes you want to take. And as you're making plans for fall, I just really encourage you to think about EACC. Everything that higher ed is being told, the presidents of higher ed in Arkansas meet weekly, and everything we're being told over and over again is this is going to resurface in the fall. And so if you think there's a possibility, if you're going off and you think you might have to come back in October or November, think about that carefully and think carefully about your education dollar that you're going to be spending. And I always beg people, don't borrow a lot of money to get a bachelor's degree. You're going to need that for your master's and doctorate. At least, check with us first and see if we can help you a little bit more financially, because borrowing is taking from your future earnings, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep that at a minimum for you, because you're going to want to spend that great money that you earn. I also say feel free to reach out to me anytime. I love to hear from students. And my email is ccline, C-C-L-I-N-E, @eacc.edu. It's on the website. Like I said, students reach out to me now, definitely. One thing we did that worked really well at the beginning of COVID is set up an email called CARE, C-A-R-E, CARE @eacc.edu, and that's monitored by a vice president. And a student can email any question, any need whatsoever that they have, and she finds a way to provide it. So that's worked very well over and over. Students, we wanted just something simple that they could remember so that they didn't have to figure out who to ask the question of, but could just shoot it straight to her, and that worked very well. And of course, Miss Christine Williams can help you with anything related to EACC too. And I'm happy to answer any questions you want. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Thank you, Dr. Klein. We are so appreciative of you taking time out of your busy schedule to support us today in this adventure
It's
to
my
support
pleasure.
our 2020 senior students in their response to COVID-19.
Thank you.
Next, you're very welcome. Next, we are ecstatic to be graced by the presence of Dr. Candace Davis, Manager of Recruitment and Sales Leadership Development at FedEx in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Davis.
Well, good morning, everybody, and congratulations, seniors. It's great to see you all, and thanks for having me today. I'm just going to touch on a few things. So, like Dr. Smith was saying, I have worked for Walmart and FedEx, and I've always been in this role where I recruit new talent and young talent into the broader organization. And so it's a very exciting role to play. And there's just a couple of things I want to tell you as you prepare to transition from high school to the workforce, or high school to college, high school to trade school. wherever you're going to go, and then eventually into potentially corporate environment or a more long-term career. The first thing I would say, I'm going to point out 4 things today, and they are accountability, skill versus will, listening to feedback, and collaboration. And so a couple of things, accountability, as you move into college or you move into the professional workforce, you're going to have to be accountable for your own time like you have never been before. No one's going to be telling you when you need to be somewhere or that you need to finish this project. That you're going to have to manage your own time, potentially how you've never done that before in your life. And so just remember things like let your yes be yes and let your no be no. And if you need to say no, know that it's okay to say that. It's all right. Tell people no. But if you say yes, make sure you do it. Make sure you follow through. So just be really accountable. Find a mentor, whether you're in college or trade school or in the professional environment. I've had mentors throughout my life. Find a mentor that can help you learn how to hold yourself accountable and learn how to always be true to your word. The second thing is skill versus will. You're going to learn the skill that you need in college, in your trade school, maybe even on the job. You're going to learn the skills. But that will, that internal energy, excitement, and passion and drive, that is something that's all you, 100% you. So just remember that will is a big part of getting a job and keeping a job. Anytime I hire, and I hire 50 plus people a year, anytime I hire, I am looking for somebody that has energy and passion for the role. If you're not excited about it, I'm not going to hire you for it. So just remember, lots of energy, lots of excitement for any role that you're looking into, whether it's at FedEx or Walmart or your local grocery store. Just be excited about what they're offering you, what they're presenting to you. So remember to keep that energy, and then that will and that drive will keep you good at your job, and that will get you promoted into bigger roles. The third one is feedback. So as you move into college, as you move into the professional world, you're going to get some feedback, and it's not always going to be pleasant. Some of it's going to be great, like you did great at this is awesome. Some of it's going to be hardcore, like that presentation did not go as planned. And so you have to get used to taking that feedback in, taking a moment, because it's kind of like a stab in the heart, like, oh, that didn't feel good. How do you accept that feedback, be calm, make the changes that need to be made, and move forward? And so accepting feedback is going to be something really critical. And again, that mentor that you find can help you with accepting feedback and learning to move forward and not letting it hurt you too much, because it's a little painful the first few times. And the last point would be collaboration. And so I know you've worked with other students on projects and groups of 3 or 4, and you always have that one person in the group that just doesn't do their part of the job. You know how that goes. It's the same way when you get in the business field, except for broader. So you might have 15 or 20 people on a project, and you got those 2 over there that just don't do their job. So you have to learn how to bring everybody in and make it a success for everybody. And you're not always going to get along with everybody. So you got to figure out how to build relationships, how to work through challenge, how to talk through conflict. All of those things are wrapped up in collaboration, and that is a huge part of being in college and then, of course, in business. So those are my 4 for you today: accountability, skill versus will, listening to feedback, and collaboration. And I wish you the best of luck. I think you're going to be outstanding, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you, Dr. Candace. I'm just so excited to receive all these good tips for life coaching. Excellent job. We really enjoyed that. And again, to all of our professionals online today, we are so grateful, super excited to have you. I am just taking it in and enjoying this. Next, we are doubly blessed to have Misters Elliot and Vincent Lyons. They are identical twins, and I still cannot tell them apart. They graduated as numbers 3 and 5 at the top of the 1984 graduate class. They have done exceptionally well for themselves, and we look forward to hearing from them today. Elliot and Vincent.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Smith. First of all, let me just say congratulations to all the graduates. It's such an accomplishment in these tough, challenging times. You all are really to be commended. Dr. Smith knows that anytime she's hosting anything or she's involved with anything that involves students, that we're only a phone call away. And we love to receive that phone call from her. And we love to participate in anything that she's doing, and especially if it involves students. You know, it was 36 years ago that we were sitting back making these same decisions that you all are making today. It doesn't seem like it's 36 years ago. In fact, we always tell people that, you know, we graduated from high school when we were 5. So, you know, to make it seem like we're not that old, but it was 36 years ago. That was a long time ago. But we want to share some things with you all today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the early parts of our career, and then my brother's going to talk a little bit about how things transpired a little bit later in our careers. Just share some things with you all, just to let you know that there is absolutely nothing that you can't do. And, you know, you can get ready for, you know, a whole lot of things that you probably just can't even imagine sitting where you're sitting today. When we graduated from high school back in '84, we left Arkansas. We went down to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We had challenges. We had major challenges. But, you know, we talk about, and this is something that you'll learn a whole lot about as you go throughout your career, whether it's, you know, a 4-year college, a trade school, vocational school, whatever it is, you're going to learn about developing some type of strategic plan, you know, some type of plan for the future. And I can remember my brother and I, we started developing our strategic plans early on, and we knew that we wanted to go down to Southern University. First of all, we were going to major in engineering, and we wanted to be the best engineering students on that campus. That was first and foremost. We wanted to be number one on that campus. We had to do that, first of all, just to get some money. We needed some money, and we knew that companies came down and they offered money to students, and we wanted to earn some of that money. But secondly, we wanted to make sure that we were positioning ourselves for the future. So we wanted to look at it from a 5 and 10 year perspective very early on. So we wanted to graduate at the top of the class. We wanted to work for a big company. We knew we wanted to go back to graduate school, so we knew we were going to go get our master's degrees in engineering. But we also were looking at, after that, another 5, 6, 7 years down the road, we knew we wanted to go back to school and earn a master's in business administration. So those things were all part of our strategic plan. And once you set those things, you set those goals and objectives, then you use mentors and you use people who have been there and done it, and you understand what is it going to take to make that happen. And so we learned so much from people that wanted to share with us their paths and what it was going to take to make that happen. So we challenged ourselves, we challenged the companies that we worked for. We did everything that we could control, and understanding that there are always going to be things that you can't control, but there are going to be things that you can control. And the things that you can control, you want to make sure that you are indeed controlling those things. You are taking care of those things. So we studied hard, we enjoyed college, we were very disciplined, as been said many times today. Developed that discipline. We were very disciplined, but we enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed working. We worked with General Motors Corporation for a number of years. We enjoyed working. We enjoyed being the best that we could be and positioning ourselves to be what's called go-to people in General Motors, so that whenever they had tough problems, they would come to us. So you prepare yourself for those things. And then I'm going to leave you with a little quote that that we've always used as kind of, to inspire not only ourselves but other people. And it was part of an article that was published on us some years ago. But it just simply said, life only gives you what you have the courage to demand. So demand excellence from yourself and others. And remember that. Life only gives you what you have the courage to demand. Demand excellence from yourself and demand excellence from other people, especially the people around you. And if you do that, you're gonna see a whole lot of things happen that will benefit you and the people around you, things that you can't even imagine today.
Thanks, Vincent. I'm gonna go into just kind of footnote a lot of what he said to all the graduates. You are to be commended on getting to this major milestone in life. And then you're certainly to be commended for the way that you've had to deal with the events of the last several months. I can tell you that it's going to make you stronger. For those who haven't had to go through this and deal with what you all have had to go through, they won't reap the benefits of almost such a tragedy that you all have had to deal with. I personally have a son who's a senior, so he's in your class. He just went through the same thing that you went through. We had the virtual graduation and all of that. Didn't get a chance to walk like we all did. I also have a senior that just graduated from college. And again, same thing, virtual graduation. So you all are going to be equipped perhaps a little bit differently and potentially a little bit better than a lot of us have. And I just hope that you understand that. I hope that you look forward to embracing that and taking advantage for what it means. As my brother said, we came through 36 years ago. The message that he gave you was demand excellence, demand it from yourselves and from others around you. We can't stress that enough. I will tell each and every one of you graduates, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. 1984, when we walked across the stage at Wynne High School, we honestly felt like we were about as prepared and equipped as any students could be. We were ready to go and do whatever it is we were going to do in the world, having spent our time at Wynne High School. I appreciate the students earlier that kept giving appreciation to Wynne High School and the faculty and the staff and administration, because that's exactly where we were. We were ready. I want to challenge each and every one of your students to understand you're ready, you're equipped. Now it's time to do some of the other things that all the speakers have talked about. Get ready to embrace your next chapter. Set goals. Once you set those goals, now that gives you sort of a roadmap so that you can go out and find the mentors. You can plot the educational course that you need to achieve those. You can set professional career goals. And you can be prepared that if some of those goals take you away from Wynne, just understand that you always come back. That's your base. If those goals keep you in Wynne, in the metropolitan area, embrace that. Wherever it takes you, just be prepared. The challenge that we've always tried to give students every time we talk to anybody from Wynne is this: understand this. There is a big world out there, and what you have gone through by the basis of graduating from Wynne High School has prepared you to be ready to go out and conquer. There's a few things I want to share with you. I want to challenge each and every one of you. Set tough goals. If you don't set tough goals for yourself, then you're not truly honoring what you have. 12 years of matriculating through Wynne and graduating from Wynne High School and taking the teachings and the counseling and the love from everybody, you're not honoring that. Set tough goals. Set aggressive goals. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Set a different paradigm. If you feel like you want to achieve a certain goal in 5 years versus what everybody else is achieving in 10 years, set that goal. Don't for 1 minute think that you're not good enough or you're not prepared enough. Because as far as a 12-year matriculation through secondary school, I'm telling you, and my brother has told you, you're about as prepared as anybody in your class. Set those goals. I also like to tell this class that when you think about it, yes, we're dealing with some very unprecedented times with this COVID-19 and everything that it's causing. But when you think about it, I can tell you, this class, you all are going to be needed even more than you can imagine. I mean, look at the very nature of where we're at today. We're on a Zoom call. We got a lot of people on this call. This technology is moving so fast that it's going to be scary for a lot of us older people. And I can tell you, your class, you all are going to be key if this country is going to continue to be successful and this world is going to continue to be successful. Imagine the importance that you all will have in this world. This, we don't know this technology stuff like you all do. You're not afraid of it. If companies are going to be successful 10, 15, 20 years from now, I can tell you, you all will play a very important role. And not just companies, any aspect of your life after you leave Wynne High School. It doesn't matter, whether you're a truck driver, it doesn't matter. I can name anything, whether you're an electrician, a plumber. To our president of EACC, I completely agree. If you pursue a route in the skilled trade, you're going to play a key role because everything is going to be different 5, 10, and 15 years from now. We're going to need you all. We're going to need what you bring. You bring something that, frankly, we don't have today. And I want you all to embrace that. I want you all to understand one thing. My brother and I grew up on 707 J Street. And we tell people this all the time, very proud of it. That's where we grew up at. And we walked to the junior high school when we were in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And we walked up to the high school when we were in high school, and we did it proudly. So from that standpoint, all the students on this call, understand something. We're no different than you are. We're no different than you are. But what made us different, if there is any difference, is all the stuff that everybody talked about on this call and the way that we were willing to embrace it. To understand that if all of those resources are going to be out there, if people are truly going to care about what we do, if people are going to be willing to help, guide us, give us advice, we're going to take advantage of it. That's what we did that perhaps a lot did not do. And I challenge each and every one of you to do that. I'll leave you with this thought. From 707 J Street in May of 1984 when we walked across that stage, my brother and I, because of everything that everybody's talked about on this call and all the challenges that we want to make for you all to take advantage of the opportunities. It was just kind of interesting. We were talking about this. I just want to share because there's a big world out there, and you're prepared to go and take advantage of your piece of it. From 707 J Street, my brother and I have been on 5 continents in this country. In this world, I'm sorry. 5 continents. The only continent that he or I have not been to, Antarctica and Australia. The other 5 we've been to. From 707 J Street, Wynne, Arkansas, 72396. We have been to 22 countries in the world. 22 countries in this world. From 707 J Street, Wynne, Arkansas, 72396. And I tell you, and I submit humbly to you today, that we're no different than all of you. We were right where you are 36 years ago. So I pray that you all will heed the message. I pray that you all will, keep God first. Let God be the guidance. Set the goals. Talk to God. Have a relationship. Understand that you're prepared. You can do anything in this world that you want to do. Take advantage of all the resources that have been presented today and more. People willing to help, ask, seek it, get it, and go out and take your part of this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent and Elliott. You have represented Wynne well, and our heart is filled with joy to have you here with us today. Our next guest, Mr. Samuel Moses, will be introduced by Mr. Ron Harris. In turn, Mr. Moses will introduce Mr. Harris.
Well, I'm so excited to be here today because it's a privilege to be able to introduce a man who is just more than just a person, but he's a friend. He scaled tremendously as he came from Alabama. He'll tell his own story, but he scaled to become an officer at Walmart, which some people don't even, their whole career never achieved that. But he was able to rebound and parlay and to be in a very strategic role right now, as he is also taken on a new role as the global technology leader for NCR. I present my friend, my comrade, my leader, mentor. He also hails as a reverend as well. So he carries several titles. I present to you today, Mr. Samuel Moses.
Thank you so much, Ron. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard not to preach on this phone. Man, I am so excited. I don't know if it's the energy from Emily and Courtney and everybody speaking at the beginning, or often if it's because you got up and put on a bow tie that I'm excited this morning. But I am excited, and I do have to acknowledge that bow tie. All right, so let's jump into this. So, man, I think if I can get to the heart of what I want to communicate to you all today is don't quit. If you take nothing else away from the next 5 minutes, I would just say don't quit, don't stop. You were made for this, and as many of you all would say, you were made for this. Period. And just put that on it. I titled this Higher Callings because as you think about kind of what we've reflected on even thus far in this call, you've achieved a certain level of success so far and significance so far as you've matriculated through high school. And undoubtedly, you face crisis, you face challenges, you face obstacles. And I think now when you look at COVID-19, you're starting to really get the sense of, many of you all turning 18, about to turn 18, as an adult, these crises are just going to continue to come. So higher callings, and it's kind of this Generation Z, as the twins were just alluded to, versus COVID-19. You're a generation that was born into technology. You understand digital, you understand pace. A lot of us that are older complain at times about the lack of patience that we observed with many of the millennials and many people in Generation Z. But I would dare tell you that your sense of urgency is an asset right now. When you look at how all of us were thrust into various different situations on the heels of COVID, procrastination wasn't a skill set that you wanted to have. So I would just encourage you to embrace who you are naturally and what you've been birthed into. I want to try to share this and change my background slide. I think it'll be pretty telling because hopefully you can see that a little bit in the background. And I'm going to share these slides out. I'm going to say something that aligns also with what Vincent and what the twins were saying. This statement, how you start is how you finish. There's oftentimes people will tell you that it's not about kind of how you start, it's about how you finish. I want to start this out by saying how you start is how you're going to finish. And it doesn't matter how you start. You just got to get going, and you're already moving. And I want to say this, it's not where you start that predicates how you finish. It's just the fact that you got to get started and get moving. And you've already done that. I want to encourage you that there's many people in your peer group that started high school. And for various different reasons, they didn't finish high school. But you finished. So keep that momentum and keep it going. I started with this unquenching expectation. I grew up in a really small city in Alabama called Anniston, Alabama. And if you look at the national statistics today, I pulled this morning. Your high school outranks my high school. So let me let that just kind of marinate and settle in for a moment. Because I've been to Wynne. I've spoken there. I've met many people there. I've had a chance to engage there. And many of the people that I engaged with when I was there weren't filled with unquenching expectation. But if we could birth something like this out of a city called Anniston, Alabama, where even Wynne outpaces Anniston, Alabama, I had a commitment, a perseverance, and also humility to know that I didn't know everything and I was willing and open to learn. Interesting stat, I've also visited 22 countries. I've lived abroad in a different country. I lived in Bangalore, India for almost 2 years as a part of my corporate career. I've been kind of to the highest of what some people would say highest of highs as a corporate officer at Walmart. Out of 2.2 million associates, you're in the top 200-300 people in that group. All of this out of a little small city that was paced behind a Wynne, Arkansas. So I just want to encourage you, I'm also a dad. I coined this phrase COVID dad because now I get the opportunity to not only help my 17-year-old daughter navigate through her upcoming high school year, I've got a 5-year-old son that I'm virtual schooling, homeschooling, while I'm also working, cooking 3 meals a day and providing activities for them and keeping the house clean and everything else that comes along with that. So I've kind of coined this COVID dad phrase as a part of that. You've achieved success, as I said, and I want to congratulate you just like everyone else that has congratulated you on your graduation. And my encouragement to you is now that you've done that, hey, let's just make it simple. Let's just go change the world. I was looking at this definition of crisis and looking at this definition, the turning point for better or worse, an emotionally significant event or radical change of status in a person's life. an unstable or uncrucial time or state of affairs in which a decisive change is impending. COVID-19 brought about a certain crisis, not only for the world, but every person individually. And all of us, regardless of we are working in corporate America, regardless of if we are retired, regardless of if we are graduated from high school, regardless of if we're 5 years old entering into kindergarten, COVID brought about a certain set of crises that brought every individual to an impending decision. And how will you respond? It is an individual decision on how you respond. Some of you all are booked up, you're ready to go to college, everything's set, scholarships are there. Somebody else on the other end was late taking ACT, late getting ready, you're not quite ready to go. I would submit to you today that it's all about how you start the year. Even if you're not ready, even if you weren't planning to go to college, I almost want to say it just doesn't matter. It is a decision. Crisis causes you to make a decision in a split, in an instant. And here's the beauty of life. If you get it wrong, make another decision. But don't stop, don't quit. I wrote this down. Crisis comes to abruptly shift you out of your current situation and accelerate you into your next. For some of you all, you might have saw what happened with the stock market. When crisis came, the stock market fell. Man, it lost, I'm not mistaken, about 10 years of growth was completely wiped out in weeks, in days, in literally days. What it took the stock market to accomplish in 10 years, crisis accelerated, and in days, it has surpassed 10 years of growth. So I want to encourage you that yes, COVID hits. Yes, things like George Floyd and protests and all these things that happen all around us that's completely out of our control. But if you position right inside of that crisis, you'll be ready to launch out and really go do something amazing. In 2016, at the first pinnacle of my career, my role with Walmart was eliminated. I had worked for Walmart for 18 years, and I walked into an office, and when I walked in that office, there was a box of tissue, a bottle of water, and a black folder that had my name on it. And abruptly, I was thrust into crisis. In the next coming days, I would end up having to close the car dealership that my wife and I started because we wanted to be a blessing to the community. I would end up having to sell the home that we were living in, a $500,000 for a little kid from Anderson, Alabama to own a $500,000 home there in Northwest Arkansas. I would end up having to sell that home and downsize into an apartment. And if I could be completely vulnerable, I felt hopeless. I felt lost. I was unsure about where to turn or who to turn to. I felt rejected because the company that I had poured into for 18 years of my life said we didn't need your services anymore. I was scared. And when I sat right in that moment and I was reflecting about, and crisis causes you to reflect on who are you? What are you made of? I think it was Kavion that spoke about wanting to go play football, and then was completely thrust because of not being able to do that through crisis, has now launched into a different thing. And who knows where cheerleading could take you? You may still end up in the NFL, but just in a different capacity, because God has something different that was intended for you to touch and for you to engage with. He didn't need you on the field, but he needs you on the field. So I just say that even in my life, I've experienced Christ that caused me to look at the core of who I was and how would I respond to that. And Romans 8:28 says that God, that all things come together for those that are called and for those that love God. They all come together. So I turned to my faith. I look back at the optimism that was birthed out of Anderson, Alabama. I look back at the determination that I had to walk with to get out of Anderson, Alabama, to make it to a University of Alabama, to get into a Walmart. And I allowed what was deposited inside of me to allow me to navigate through the crises that I was facing. EJ said this: God never intended for your temporary to be your eternity. Some of us, in the moment of crisis, we go through these temporary circumstances, and many people unfortunately get stuck. It was never intended for you to get stuck. I didn't copy this one in, but let me read it. Harriet Tubman said, always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and to change the world. And I want to encourage you, don't quit, don't stop. You have within you the capacity and the ability to change this world. And to your generation, from my generation, we need you. You can't stop. We cannot be, I need you. I cannot achieve the level of significance that God has planned for my life without you. You are important. You're critical. I came across this quote when I was a senior in high school, and I've reflected through it all throughout my life since then. If a man wants a dream to come true, he must first wake up. You've got big dreams. Because I've been there and I've seen some of you all, and I know where you're from. I've got big dreams for you. But if you're going to achieve those dreams, you got to wake up, don't quit, and go get after it. It's with a lot of gratitude. And I almost fight back tears as I introduce Ron Harris. Because like so many people, and we all have a story, but like so many people, he overcame tremendous tragedy and crisis in his life growing up through Florida as he navigated to Arkansas. And with great humility, he serves all throughout this country, all throughout this world. And the thing about it is, he doesn't ask for much. Just that his basic needs are provided so he can go out and thank and pour into people like those that are on this phone. So the founder of a Level Up, Mr. Ron Harris. Take it away, sir. Love you.
Thank you too. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Thank you, Samuel Moses. I fought back tears this whole entire time from the very beginning of this call until now. As we begin to think about this call with Dr. Smith and I, we couldn't have planned, only God could have known that it was going to be like this. And I want to thank every single speaker, because what you exemplify all the way down to Samuel Moses is exactly what I'm going to talk about today. We're going to talk about understanding your calling. When you have people that are able to communicate efficiently and effectively with all candor, with all seriousness, and at the same time they're able to do that with a smile, is because they're doing one thing. They're doing what they love, and they love what they do. And as you begin to understand your calling and passion in life, it's really not about money, because money comes and money goes. The average college student will change their major 3 to 4 times. And if you understand your calling and passion in life, it could save you up to $75,000. So we're looking with your calling and your passion to cost savings when you are very focused. As a result of coming from Wynne High School, I can tell you that Wynne High School cares, from the school board, the superintendent, from the principal and the assistant principal, Dr. Smith. They care, and the counselors and the teachers, they care about you, and even the volunteers that come in to mentor. Why is that important? We hope that you, through this call, through the strands that will stream as you begin to see a thread that runs through, is that everybody is doing what they were called to do. And they take that call to heart, which is point number 2. They take that calling in such a way that that we can conceive that there would be a call, and that call would be for seniors, that seniors would be able to kind of coalesce around the idea that really you are built for such a time as this. As we see that thread came all the way through from the president to the counselor spoke on flexibility. It's being able to be flexible in life, because life really is a list of things that you desire to do. I've heard it said by an old sage that David served the purposes of God in his generation, and then he went to sleep. What that means is you have a list of things that you're supposed to accomplish. And it's not just one thing, but it's a list of things as you begin to pour your heart and life into what you were called to do. One famous person said, being poured out like a drink offering. So you're putting your heart, you're putting your life, you're putting everything that synthesizes with you as a person, that you would live out everything that you were called to do. We will talk about money versus passion. Of course, as you think about taking your calling to heart, you will be sometimes tricked by the economy of what it would mean for you or me to do something based on monetary value. But the calling that you have will take you the distance. It will take you over the mountains. It will take you into the valleys. But it will do, as I heard another sage say, your gift will make room for you. And as you think about the dark places and spaces that you see right now, those of you that are on this call are following your calling to be in such a place, to hear great people. As you begin to think about that, what that does is, number 3, that begins to build your confidence in your calling. As you begin to think about what you're doing in your life, is it going to make a difference? You may think, well, what is my calling? That's a great question. What you love to do, you do it for free, and you want to help other people. And that leaves a huge open, gaping hole for you to fill it in with how you were divinely designed to complete a problem that when you were born, there was a problem. And the problem came as an answer through you. And you are the answer to many of the problems in the world. And as you gain confidence in skill building, in soft and hard skills, you gain the confidence in pursuing everything that you were supposed to pursue. And as you do that, you begin to, number 4, develop your calling. There's the skill set that you need to develop. And every person said today a different brick that would help you fulfill your calling in life, but you're going to have to be developed. You're going to have to be developed through a mentor. You're going to have to be developed through the right people around you. You'll be developed through the people that are over you, the people that are at your level, and even you'll learn from the people that are beneath you. That process of developing gives you the opportunity to have a leg up on the competition. As I close, to love what you do and to do what you love is what Wynne High School wants. And with the AAA Club, as they sponsored this, the African American Achievers, they wanted you to do the last thing, which was the mantra that they have, which is the A, and that is achieve. The African American Achievers Club has been a part of Wynne High School for many years. And so for them to be able to host this call today in the light of the culture that we have right now is absolutely phenomenal. It's actually fulfilling its calling. Being African American achievers, people reaching out and bringing other people together. And the day we have the opportunity to understand your passion and calling, to walk and talk in your calling with all of your heart. Build your confidence in your calling and developing your calling through skill building. I thank all of you for being here today. And I also want to take the chance to introduce Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith is the kind of person that continues to persevere. She is the person that many people don't see because she's eagerly working day and night. And when I say day and night, during this COVID-19, the African American Achievers met 5 to 6 times. And they met doing community service projects, helping each other through crisis, doing causes as similar as this. And Dr. Smith was at the helm of that. And I think that at this point, she deserves not just a round of applause, but she deserves more than that. She's a leader. She's a counselor. She's a friend. She's a minister. She's a parent. She's a wife. She's a minister's wife. She does all those things and she does them well. And to the African American Achievers Organization, to the clubs here at Wynne High School, and to Dr. Smith, I commend you not just on your ability to galvanize these students, but even in the midst of that, over the past 18 months, you followed your calling to get your doctorate degree. I want to thank you for being a living example of what it means to be a person that lives out their calling. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude my comments by introducing Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Ron. You know, I did not expect that. Surprise, surprise. We are at the conclusion of our Zoom meeting session 3. My heart is filled with joy. I'm so grateful, first of all, to my Creator. And then I'm so grateful to you all for the sacrificial attitude, spirit, just a servant spirit that you had to come to this need today. And I love you singers. My heart is filled with nothing but love for you. I hope that you feel these great big arms of compassion that this group has extended around you to say that you are not alone. We are better together. And as we move forward, always remember, once a jacket, always a jacket. I know that you have been anxiously awaiting the moment when we have the drawing for the $1,000 scholarship. I want to say that I turned that segment over to Mr. Marcus Luther because I want to make sure that you understood that this drawing is authentic. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Marcus Luther.
I'll keep it quick because I know you're watching my screen, not for me, but for the results. And sorry, Simon's a little fussy in the background, so if you hear him crying, he's just rooting for you guys. I've been stirring these for 5 minutes. All your names are on placards in here. We'll do it live. I have not looked in this bowls for a long time. I've just been stirring, so the name that comes out is the name that will win. And I miss and love you guys, and we'll never forget the class of 2020. So here we go. Without further ado, the name that I pulled is Jolene Colvin is the winning name. So congratulations to Jolene. That was straight out of here. And I will, like I said, will never forget you guys. You humbled me and reaffirmed my calling when you walked in my room in 10th grade and care deeply about you. And I left my contact information in the chat box. But congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you, Mr. Luther, and congratulations, Jolene. Do you have any closing words, Jolene?
I'm just gonna say thank you. Thank you, Dr. Smith. I don't know what to say. This has been really like eye-opening, like how I need to help myself going forward. And it's given me a lot of outlets to learn and grow as I go on. So thank you.
Yes, and you're so welcome. I must close now. There's so many more things I could say, but I know we've gone past time, and I don't want to waste my grace that you have given me. Just want to say that I am continually working with other people on behalf of our seniors. There's still possibly more money to come, so continue to check your emails. We are diligently working on your behalf. Thank you, and have a great day. God bless you all.
Thank you.